As a person who upgraded the day after Windows 10 launched, and therefore has had time to get used to the new OS, I don't have the same complaints that many critics have about Windows 10. In its defense, it really is a great operating system for desktops and tablets alike, and the update included as a part of Windows 10 does include an interesting feature, the ability to use a crude form of torrenting updates from computers nearby, something which I'd use if my internet connection was up to snuff, but like I said, the updater on Windows 10 doesn't work, not as its current form anyway. I do find it quite frustrating that the Windows Update Manager has had a bit of a downgrade, not in a technical way either, it's more in the it's too simplified way. Let's talk about it. On Windows 7, 8 and 8.1 you were able to see what updates did what, and they were sorted out into three categories: security updates, feature updates and program/plugin/software updates. If any needed to be installed, you could optionally install the updates you wanted. If there was a security hole in Windows 7, you could opt in to patch it or leave it be. On Microsoft's new system, the categories remain the same, but there's no opt-out. If you needed to update Flash for Edge, you have to update Flash for Edge. If there are security updates, you have to install those updates. I could see the thought process Microsoft was going with. If there's a security issue with Windows 10, we can patch all computers with the OS as soon as we publish it. Then everyone is safe. Hooray us! The reality is a bit different. I wouldn't mind so much if most of the minor software updates didn't require a computer restart. After all, it's software you use too much to restart for, or too little to even care about. That would explain why only mostly Microsoft products get into TB in the Update Manager. Most of the programs I use have automatic updaters now anyways. It makes no sense how such a small change needs a reboot from the system to work. Security updates make more sense, as do driver updates, and there are things too complicated to go into this video that get changed. Registry edits, certificates, hell, the update may even add a feature or two. I don't mind restarting if the update is somehow beneficial to me, even if it is just for improved security. I do mind when it is to an update a plugin more and more people are ditching. Another feature taken away from Windows 7 is the lack of any real changelog for what the update actually contains. A fear for many that use their own computer is whether an update breaks a specific product, driver or game, and rightly so. The Xbox Apps recording feature didn't work from the get-go for me, and neither did 3ds Max. Yes, updates did fix them, but Microsoft should have tested this. 3ds Max is an industry-grade product, and Microsoft makes the Xbox app for crying out loud, so it's not unknown to them, and something in the back of my mind believes they did, which brings me to something else Windows Update seems to be doing. I know DRM is potentially the wrong term to use, but it does certainly feel like it's pretending to be it. The update for Windows 10 are mandatory, updates can delete unofficial drivers, and supposedly delete pirated games, and I'm not kidding, stop peripherals from working altogether. All the hallmarks of bad DRM. I use an off-brand controller and, with the exception of the November Threshold 2 update, my controller support breaks every single time. It's somehow trying to be the worst kind of DRM, oppressive DRM. Even innocent programs like CPU-Z, something so insignificant I'm surprised it's been flagged up, have been known to have been deleted after the aforementioned Threshold 2 update, because they, for some reason, might pose a security threat, which, as I've just said, is doubtful. Oh, and why don't we talk about the lack of specific error message numbers, please? I'm going to tell you a true story of my upgrade experience from Windows 10 to the second Threshold update. When I updated my PC to Threshold 2 in December, I held off until I knew what was in the sodding update first to see if anything broke. Thankfully, nothing did, but apparently I needed 6 GB of reserved space for the update to be installed properly. I deleted what I thought was enough to get Windows 10 to update, and Windows Update broke my system, for 24 hours at least. Now, I'll admit, it was my fault that Windows 10 broke in the first place. It wasn't like I wasn't warned. That much Microsoft actually did. It did give you a little bit of a warning of how much memory it would take up, and well, for some reason it did that. It's what I had to do next, which annoyed me. You see, every time Windows starts an update, it keeps a log of what gets output via the system via its own locking system. When I failed to clear enough space to update, again, my own fault for not double checking, not Microsoft, gotta make that part clear, it failed to update. When the update failed at 32% quite consistently, it threw me a KB number, which when you look it up online, it would normally give you what the error was, and the solution to go with it. Normally, that is. The error I got was so non-specific, it didn't even exist yet on Microsoft's website. After researching into various forums, I found out about the logging system I explained to you lot just now. I had to boot up into my Linux partition, find the log file, and see what the numbers at the bottom were. Type those into Google, and you get the solution you're looking for. For me, it was to delete more hard drive space in case that wasn't obvious, then you would actually continue updating. It concerns me, however, that a simple error, even if I was to blame, doesn't have a specific KB number on the error message you get while updating. instead of being hidden away in a log system not many people are actually going to use or find, in a place where, delete the wrong thing, and you could break the OS beyond repair. If I wasn't dual booting Linux Mint, I would have been stumped, not to mention the risks of doing that in the first place. That was basically a long-winded way of me saying, make stuff more transparent, Microsoft. It helps literally all of us, actually. Here's what I propose, Microsoft. Go back to the update system you had with Windows 7, or keep the mandatory update system if that's what you believe is right, because yes, it has its uses, but only for actual security updates. I care more about that than anything else you have to offer me. Software updates from you should be optional, even the ones that you place in, that admittedly you can opt out from. These shouldn't require restarts either. See Microsoft Edge wanting Flash and a restart for some weird reason. If both Mac and Linux can update their respective Flash-shaped browsers without a restart, you should be able to do it too. I'm a geeky nerdy nerd. I own Linux in case that wasn't obvious. I like to know what's in the updates before I install it. Actually, to be fair, any general consumer would probably want to do that. Therefore, internal field testing may be advised, because I want that option to not install stuff that can be known to have problems with my computer setup. Transparency is also key. My long-winded story is the reason to why this is crucial. If you tell us what's in the updates, give us a way to resolve the updates from the error screen itself, and generally keeping the website up to date, see above, even if it's just slapping on a meaningful KB number on the error message screen, it'd be much better than the potentially rooting around the file system looking for the answer. Transparency in what your product doesn't hurt anyone. Not all of us have Linux, though I think you already know that. I know there is a rollback feature in the settings, but sometimes even that's inaccessible because you have to update, even if you've installed the update already, or partially installed it in my case. Earlier in 2015 you said that, for business users at least, you'd implement a PPA system the way which Linux delivers its updates. This is a vastly better system. It is optional to update stuff, you can add URLs, and you can update all of your programs in one hit. I'm surprised this hasn't been in Windows prior to Windows 10, as it makes so much sense. You could just literally sit at the computer to tell the PPA system to update everything, grab a tea or coffee or toast, and then leave your computer on for about an hour to update everything. I know you like to distance yourself from Linux, Microsoft, which is probably the reason why it's never happened before, but hey, actually implement it. It seems useful. Those were my thoughts on the matter that I hope someone out there found interesting. Thank you all for listening. Also, screw Adobe Flash in general.